The movie begins with what feels like a surreal dream. In the middle of a forest, a wildfire rages, crackling and roaring. Out of the burning trees, the silhouette of a bear appears, its fur completely engulfed in flames. The bear charges straight toward the camera before sprinting past. The moment it disappears, the scene cuts sharply to the home of Eric Marsh, the superintendent of a wildfire crew in Prescott, Arizona. Inside his home, Eric is moving quickly, gathering gear and supplies. He has just been called to help stop a wildfire burning near Phoenix. In the kitchen, his wife Amanda is already awake, sipping coffee. She reminds him about a fight they had the night before. Eric pauses, apologizes sincerely, and then leaves for the fire. Eric's team is what's known as a Type 2 crew, nicknamed Deucers. They are not certified to be on the direct front lines of a wildfire. Instead, they handle support tasks like digging fire breaks, trenches that strip the land of fuel so the fire cannot spread further. On this day, they are working hard to clear vegetation in a vulnerable area. While on the job, Eric encounters a hotshot crew, the elite frontline firefighters. Eric offers them strategic advice about the fire's path. The hotshots brush him off, saying, "Do what deucers do best, nothing." They ignore his warning. Hours later, the small town they were trying to protect is swallowed by flames, forcing residents to flee. Frustrated, Eric calls his old friend Dwayne, a former fire chief. Eric wants help getting his team certified as a hotshot crew. If they succeed, they will be the first municipal hotshot crew in the United States. Most others operate at the state or federal level. Brendan goes to the restaurant where she works. She tells him the baby is his. Brendan, still under the influence, says he wants to be involved. She immediately rejects the idea, saying she does not want him in their lives. Leaving the restaurant, Brendan spots a Jeep parked nearby. Inside, he notices a car stereo and tries to steal it. Unfortunately for him, police officers are right across the street. They arrest him on the spot. His mother bails him out, but when they return home, she tells him bluntly that he cannot stay there anymore. Determined to turn his life around, Brendan goes to the wildfire crew's station with a resume. One of the firefighters recognizes him from an EMT class. Knowing Brendan's troubled reputation, the man tells him to leave. But Eric overhears and invites Brendan into his office anyway. During their conversation, Brendan admits he has a criminal record, but insists he has been clean for 3 months. Eric tells him the crew is about to go for a run and suggests he try to keep up. The crew sets off running up a steep mountain trail. Brendan struggles badly, falling far behind. At the top, Eric gives the new applicants a passionate speech about what it means to join the team. Brendan is nowhere in sight. Back at the station, Eric half jokes with another firefighter, asking if Brendan has died somewhere on the hill. Moments later, Brendan emerges from the woods, utterly exhausted but holding his phone. He shows a photo proving he reached the top. Impressed by his determination, Eric hires him. Meanwhile, Dwayne secures the crew an official evaluation to become hotshots. During the test, they are fighting a fire when Eric notices a spot that could reignite the blaze. He decides to stop and deal with it, even though the evaluator questions his judgment. The two argue, but Eric refuses to back down, and his decision works. Later, Eric worries he may have upset the auditor and blown their chance at certification. The next day, Dwayne delivers the news: they passed. The crew is now officially the Granite Mountain Hotshots. They celebrate their historic achievement. A montage follows, showing the team battling fires across different terrains. Mixed into this sequence, Brendan begins taking groceries to his ex-girlfriend's house for their baby. At first, she keeps the door closed, speaking to him through a small crack. But after a few visits, she finally lets him in to meet the baby. Brendan holds his child for the first time and apologizes for his past mistakes. Back in Prescott, Amanda is driving home late at night. She is exhausted and dozes off behind the wheel. Her truck veers off the road, rolling over. The next morning, Eric returns home to see the truck totaled. Amanda, surprisingly calm, is outside giving a horse care lesson to clients. Once the clients leave, Eric confronts her angrily about the wreck. Amanda fires back, accusing him of being gone too often. The argument turns personal. Amanda says she wants to start a family, but Eric reminds her they agreed not to have kids. During this heated exchange, we learn that both Eric and Amanda are recovering addicts. This sheds light on why Eric was willing to take a chance on Brendan, who was also struggling to rebuild his life. The tension between Eric and Amanda lingers as the film continues, setting the stage for deeper emotional stakes later on. The Granite Mountain Hotshots keep fighting fires across Arizona and beyond. They move with precision, their teamwork improving with each mission. Brendan is no longer just the rookie. He is becoming a solid member of the crew and, more importantly, a more present father. His relationship with his daughter grows as he visits her more often, bringing groceries and small gifts and spending time with her. One evening at a bar after a long day, Brendan approaches Eric. He tells him he's been thinking about his future and wants to be closer to home. Brendan asks if Eric would be willing to write a recommendation so he can become a structure firefighter, someone who fights house and building fires instead of wildland fires. It would mean he could be around his daughter more. Eric doesn't take it well. His voice rises as he reminds Brendan that nobody else would have given him a chance, that Eric was the one who believed in him when no one else would. The conversation turns into an argument, and Eric storms out of the bar, still angry. On the drive home, Eric is tense and distracted, exchanging sharp words with Amanda. Eric snaps, and in frustration, he stops the car and gets out, walking away. Amanda yells after him, her voice breaking. She says she feels like she's losing him to the fires. She tells him again that she wants to start a family, but that he's consumed by his job. Eric ends up at Dwayne's house later that night, admitting that things with Amanda are in a bad place. Dwayne listens, offering a sympathetic ear. Eventually, Eric goes home. He finds Amanda and tells her quietly, "I'm yours," promising that he's going to be home more often. The next morning, the call comes in, a wildfire in Yarnell, Arizona. On the drive there, Eric tells his assistant that he's going to step down as superintendent so he can spend more time with Amanda. When the Granite Mountain crew arrives, they realize the Yarnell fire is far bigger and more dangerous than they expected. They head to the far side of the blaze to begin a controlled burn, a technique where firefighters intentionally set small fires to remove fuel from the main blaze's path. But just as they start, a water-dropping plane flies overhead and releases water on their burn area. This puts out the controlled fire and ruins their plan. The fire is now moving unpredictably. Eric sends Brendan down the mountain to act as their weather lookout, a safety role that requires distance from the main team. Brendan radios back with updates, but the fire suddenly shifts direction, racing toward his position. Another team in a vehicle spots him and rushes him out of danger. Meanwhile, Eric leads the rest of the hotshots around the back of the mountain, trying to find a safe route. Brendan reaches the camp safely, but as he listens to the radio, he hears the tension in his crew's voices. They are trying to make it back to safety, but the fire is moving too fast. The flames cut off their path. With no way out, the hotshots prepare for the worst. They quickly clear a patch of ground, burning away any remaining brush, so the fire will have nothing to feed on in that spot. Then they deploy their fire shelters, reflective safety covers designed to protect them from intense heat and smoke. The men lie face down under the shelters as the roar of the fire closes in. Inside his shelter, Eric's mind flashes back to the haunting image from the opening scene. The bear on fire, running through the forest. The flames sweep over the team. At the base camp, Brendan hears silence on the radio, followed by devastating news. All 19 members of his crew have been overtaken by the fire. None survive. Back in Prescott, Amanda is in the barn tending to the horses when the phone call comes. She listens for a moment before her knees buckle and a scream rips from her chest. Later, Amanda and the other wives, families, and friends gather in a junior high school cafeteria, waiting for official confirmation. Officials tell them there is one survivor, but they don't say who. The door opens and Brendan walks in. The moment the women see him, the truth becomes clear. Tears fill their eyes as grief takes hold. They know their husbands, sons, and brothers are gone. Brendan can't bear the looks. He turns and walks out. Amanda follows him outside. Through her own grief, she tells Brendan she's glad he made it out alive. She urges him not to drown in guilt, reminding him that he has a daughter who needs him. The film closes with photos of all 19 fallen hotshots. Text on screen reveals that this was the largest single loss of firefighter life in the United States since 9/11.